Now that I've done the green part when it's really dry, I'll just use cherry red and a little bit of violet to make a good purplish red for the grapes. This is red violet. See how that looks. That's a good grape color, don't you think? Let's try some of this. This is a brand of t-shirt coloring pigment that's called Jacquard, which is pretty good for painting concrete. It's translucent enough. Some colors, some of the blues are a little bit weak and transparent, a little too transparent, but the green is vivid and just the right amount of translucency. And I don't know, I just like the gel consistency of it. Bombay calligraphy ink is just the go-to for almost every color that I use. I don't like to mix the colors for perfect consistency. I like them to vary a little bit. So I'll just use both of these. This one's a slightly more blue violet, and I'll just use them at random. And they're close enough that the variation won't be too stark, but it'll help make the finished sculpture look a little more natural. If it's too consistent, it just looks like plastic or something, factory manufactured. The key is not to put too much color on, because I went to all the trouble of making this black contrast layer underneath, and I want it to show through. And there are plenty of factory-made plastic items in our lives that have super vivid, perfectly blended colors on them. You don't need perfection in something handmade. Oops. It's also good not to drop it on the floor. Is that a raid? Thank you for stopping by. These are my grapes. Check them out. They're cast in concrete based on a rubber mold that I made from a clay sculpture. And I cast them a few days ago using sidewalk cement. Then I lacquered them and put some black ink in the crevices to make contrast. Now I'm just painting them, and then I'll lacquer over them again to make them weatherproof and send it off to the customer. This is for someone who bought this at my Etsy shop. And take a look at the chat. right now. I'm gonna type in the address of my Etsy shop where you can get an idea of what these sculptures look like when they're finished. So check this out. CLA. I'm typing right now. Okay, that's my. If you look at the chat right now, you can see the address of my Etsy shop. That's sort of my only real online gallery where I have all of my sculptures. Otherwise, I sell them at farmers markets and things in person. Imagine selling concrete sculptures at a farmer's market. You know what that means? It means I've got to carry like 100 pieces of concrete, and physically, I store them in bins. I put them in my car, and then I physically hang them up on little hooks in one of those outdoor canopies. Every morning that I do a market, it's like a huge workout. It takes about 2 hours, but it's fun. And I don't ever have to go to the gym. Hello, how's it going? Iconic. I can see your text, so if anybody asks a question, if you type in a question, I could probably answer it verbally. So feel free to ask anything. So I'm messing around with my little monitor screen here. Now that I've said that, I lost view of what I'm doing. Okay, here we go. Got it. Okay, here we go. There. Check out that message. Okay, just painting. Painting's pretty easy, but it's also kind of a perilous stage of the process because after investing all the time and effort that it takes to cast and smooth and sand and smooth and lacquer and prepare these sculptures for painting, it's in painting and lacquering and in transport of that I most often drop them and smash them. So it happens after all the investment of time and effort. Sometimes I'm getting much better at not smashing sculptures. Okay, let's go. Hey, Guy Maldonado, you said you wish you could do this. You can. And I wasn't an artist either. I was just kind of a hobby. I just started messing around with things. It just comes down to how much time you spend on it. And the same thing is true for sculpting itself, I think. Um, I used to think you had to be like a special kind of person to be able to sculpt a human face or anatomy, but it really does come down to just how much time. It's like piano practice or violin practice, how much time you spend on it, and uh, it depends on how much trial and error you're willing to do. You know, go off the script and don't use the exact instructions for all the hobby materials and things that you get. Anyway, trial and error, spending time on it. Plus, if you're doing art, in a sense, it's good to not know what you're doing, because it means if you're experimenting and doing trial and error with new materials and things, you might end up making something that is no good. You have to throw it in the trash, but you've learned a few skills and you've learned a few ways to go off script and make your own things. So that's why you wouldn't want to, you do want an artist who kind of knows what he's trying to do, but doesn't know what he's doing and in the moment. And that's what's different from, like, you wouldn't want me flying your airplane or doing surgery. But when you're doing art, it's okay to kind of not know what you're doing, to be just on the edge of your capabilities. And then the next time you make something, you'll find that things come together a little better and more easily. All right, this is painted. That was really simple. Now all I have to do is not smash it in the final process of drying it and putting clear lacquer over it, and then putting buffing wax and polishing it up. So that's that. Does anybody have any last minute questions? This is going to be a really short video and I'm just going to say goodbye. But before I turn it off, if you have any questions, just ask. I've got myself a camera. It's coming in the mail, so I should have watchable videos coming pretty soon. Okay, now that you've gone to all the trouble of turning on my video and saying hello, thanks, appreciate it. Now I'm going to end the video, and next time, as soon as I do another step in the process, I'll just make another video. And thanks a lot. See you guys soon.